The open challenge has been accepted. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to Post-Match Panic and happy Austin 316 Day. We are here talking Monday Night Raw for March 16th, 2026. And yes, as I said in the intro, the open challenge has been accepted. We'll get into it here in just a minute. Today, we are in San Antonio, Texas. We are just over a month before WrestleMania, so things are starting to shore up, and we are starting to figure out what is going to happen. Now, today I'm running solo. Jesse has some sickness running around in his house, so it's just going to be me today. So sorry for those who don't like that. You're welcome for those who do. Now, today we are going to start off our show with multiple masked men swarming the ring. Corey Graves had an amazing line saying someone fed the Mogwai after midnight, and these guys are popping up out of nowhere. Got a good chuckle. Love me some good Corey Graves. He's a great addition to the Michael Cole team on the commentary desk. So good job, Corey. As the masked men are running around, Seth unmasks and grabs a mic and says he wants to make one thing clear. He created the Vision, and he'll be the one to kill the Vision. Now, Seth is very heated right now after being thrown around by the Vision, after being put on the shelf by the Vision, and he is here to make it known that he will be the one to destroy it. He doesn't care if you're on the shelf like Bronson Reed or Braun Breaker, or a little peon like Austin Theory or Logan Paul. If you stand next to Paul Heyman, consider yourself marked for death. Now, the crowd starts booing out of nowhere. We didn't see what was going on at first, but then we see a very beat-up looking Paul Heyman, who apparently got out of the hospital. He survived the ride from LA Knight, and he stumbled out from the back. He just looked beat to all hell. I don't know what happened. I mean, he got stomped in the face. He got hit back of the head with a chair, but apparently the hospital didn't do much to him, if Knight even took him to a hospital. So with the first time we're seeing Heyman since that attack, and Seth tells Paul that he's made a lot of mistakes in his life, but letting Paul Heyman into his inner circle was the worst one, and Seth will pay him back for his betrayal every single day that he's in the business. And Paul, he gets on the mic and he says that he wasn't going to come out here, but he wasn't going to miss this for the world. Says that he's effing with his promo, and he's effing with him because the rule is, and then he got like really animated here. He says F-A-F-O, F-A-F-O, F-A-F-5. And the beast incarnate Brock Lesnar's music hits, and he comes out. We knew he was going to show up today. We knew he was going to be here. Didn't know how, but this was a very cool way to do it. And immediately the masked men surround Seth, acting like a human shield. A little throwback to the Shield days, possibly. Good little reference there. But Brock starts taking out all the masked men outside the ring. He just is laying waste to everybody. Suplex City, tossing them around like children, obliterating everyone who's coming after him. And he finally gets into the ring. Seth throws the last three remaining guys at Brock, and Brock just Super Saiyan powers throws them all on the outside of the ring. So it is now just Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins in the ring, one-on-one, and then the lights go out. And I got stoked when the ruler Oba Femi's music hits. I had to pause it. I was running around my living room. It was great. I love it. I was hoping that this was going to happen, and the ruler just comes out. I mean, he's doing his Oba strut down the walkway, and Brock was looking around like, what the hell's going on here? He looked a little scared of Oba Femi, and I mean, from what we found out in just a minute, rightfully so. They have the history with the Royal Rumble and a couple little things here and there, and with that open challenge coming out, Seth just bailed. Brock punked him, and Seth just bails, and Oba just gets in the ring and immediately just hits the fall from grace on Brock, and it was glorious. It was so good. I mean, it was the most powerful thing I've seen, I think, in WWE right now. I mean, the fact that Oba Femi just came in and just laid waste to the beast, to Brock Lesnar. So good, and just hell yeah. I mean, he points at the sign, and we get it confirmed later on in the show that this is the official acceptance of the open challenge from Brock Lesnar. We will get Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and that is going to be the only thing that I'm excited about for the next month. That's the biggest thing that I mean, great. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, awesome. That's going to be fun. But Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, that's going to be my gold standard. That's going to be it. That's it. That's it. And I'm just so excited for that. I mean, the fact that Brock was just manhandled by Oba Femi just speaks volumes to what they're doing with the ruler. And I am 100% here for it. I'm an Oba fanboy. That's what it is. That, I mean, like it or not, he's the man. If the fact that he's going to manhandle Brock like that, that's just what it is. We're going to see Brock next week, so hopefully we'll get to see some sort of a response from that, but we'll have to wait until next week to find out what happens there. But Brock scooted out of the ring with Heyman real quick, and that's how that segment ended. And man, I'm just so excited for that. Oba's just, this is where he's going to land. He'll be on Raw. That's where it's going to be, and it's just going to be fun. I can't wait for WrestleMania just for this match. It's going to be good. Moving on from the show opener, we have a recap of Punk and the Usos from last week. Roman Reigns will address it later tonight, assuming that'll be the main event, the last segment of the evening. Going into our first match, we have what is now being dubbed the real El Grande Americano versus the original El Grande Americano. That's how Corey and Michael Cole were referencing them. That's how we will reference them. And that was what is going to be going forward. So apparently at AAA this last weekend, I didn't get to see it all the way through, but they did show a cool recap of it, which I like that they're doing in this. The fact that these storylines are progressing in another promotion, I like that they're showing the recaps. They did this with Dirty Dom later on too. But the fact that the real El Grande Americano and Los Americanos handcuffed the original to the stands, allowing the real El Grande to become the Rey de Reyes and the number one contender for the AAA Mega Championship, which will go against Dominic Mysterio. Could this be another effect of Danhausen's curse from last week? I don't know. I mean, bad things seem to happen to those people who Danhausen curses. He's a little puppet master, and so the original El Grande getting handcuffed to the stands could be another effect of that curse. We'll have to see. And then I like this as a little cheeky thing during the match. Of course, the original El Grande and the real El Grande have the same 2K26 rating. I mean, they're essentially the same person, so why not have the exact same stats? That was great. Got a little chuckle there. So this was a fun match. I mean, these matches are always fun between these two. I think even though they're not officially, I mean, their characters are luchadors, but they are not luchadors, the people underneath the mask, but we don't know who they are. They still play the parts really well, while still paying homage to their actual personas. So, original getting the big shots right off the bell with real El Grande jumping over the top rope, going into the ring. And, that was when he was trying to get back into the ring. He jumped over the top rope, and the original countered into a suplex, which is really cool to see. And then just all the suplexes from original El Grande. I mean, he can compete with Brock for the new mayor of Suplex City. I'll tell you that right now, because there were just suplexes being handed out left and right. There was a little bit of a botch. I don't know if it was the ref or what it was, but he did have to adjust his count. I did hear him verbally have to count rather than just hitting the mat. Didn't translate to the crowd, obviously, because the crowd clearly thought it was 3. And if you were just looking at it, you could tell that it was a 3. But because the ref wasn't in position and maybe, slammed his hand down once too many times, he verbally was saying 1, 2, and then with that kick out there. So who knows? Refs make mistakes too. That's just what happens. But yeah, I mean, with some distractions happening back and forth, of course, Los Americanos are going to have some distractions. But Bravo was able to get in the ring and load the mask of real El Grande as he is laid out on his back, without the ref seeing or without the original El Grande seeing. And as the original goes for the headbutt off the top rope, he ends up hurting himself, hitting the metal plate. So inadvertent little self-harm there. And then very lazily, the real El Grande rolls over to get the pin. So so we have this storyline progressing, which is really cool. I definitely need to be watching AAA to see how this story is playing out. I think Jesse has said it, though. If we like this, go over and watch AAA. So need to make sure we're doing that. And I thought this would have been fun, since the real El Grande has Los Americanos. It would be funny. I think it would be funny if Otis and Tozawa became the original El Grande's crew in some fashion, with that little nod to the old school Alpha Academy. I think that would be funny. having two other characters. Let Otis and Tozawa still be Otis and Tozawa, but, have some other luchadors that look like Otis and Tozawa come out and be part of the Originals crew. I think that'd be fun. Yeah, let's see that happen. Just inject more fun into the storyline. That way you can have Los Americanos and the whatever you would call, I don't know what you would call these other crew, but let them feud it out. I think that would be fun too. Yeah, let's see it. And at the end, the real El Grande looking pretty dead, and Los Americanos doing their Weekend at Bernie's impression, trying to get him on his feet and raising his hands. So. After that match, we have Roman Reigns pulling up in a sedan backstage, and not the typical Escalade that he's used to. It looked like he was just in a simple BMW, but not traveling in style like he's used to doing. Jimmy and Jay meet him in there. Roman says that they did the right thing last week, laying Punk out, and so then it must have felt good. And then Roman grabs the camera, putting it in his face, addresses all of the bloodline, all the Samoans, telling them that they all should be offended about what CM Punk says, and that but Punk is his to handle and that he will take care of it. So, furthering that storyline, which we'll see later on in the main event tonight. And then after that, we get a recap of Finn's excommunication from the Judgment Day from last week, that brutal backstabbing and turning on him. Liv gets on the promo, which Liv's been doing great on these promos. She comes in and says that this has been her plan ever since she joined the Judgment Day, back when she was part of getting rid of Rhea and Damian from the Judgment Day when she took Dirty Dom away from Rhea. And that she said she only put up with Finn because of his relationship with Dominic and sees right through all of his lies and all of his scheming, and took a play right out of his own playbook, which is kind of what happened with the whole Rhea and Damian thing. Says the Judgment Day is on to bigger and better things. JD is finally free and will soar. Daddy Dom is still AAA Mega Champion for now, and will get his Intercontinental Championship back from Penta. Raquel will take care of Stephanie tonight, and she will walk out, and Liv will walk out of WrestleMania the new women's champion. The family has her back, and without Finn, they are better than ever. So, cool. New Judgment Day. I mean, we figured, this had to happen. I didn't expect JD to easily turn on his Irish boy Finn that quickly or that easily. I don't know. But apparently that's what it is. So, we wanted to see Finn on his own. We're going to see Finn on his own, and I'm here for that. So that's going to be good. Then they did this other recap saying that Dom wasn't around or medically cleared after beating Vikingo at AAA this weekend. This is where I was saying they did the little recap. He had a no DQ match against Vikingo this last weekend. And after it looked like he took a brutal shot to the head with a chair and the trash can, he is just not medically cleared to defend right now. After that, we get more of the bloodline backstage. I say the bloodline, it's Roman and the Usos. They're not technically the bloodline, but that's what they were. That's what it is. So Roman says that everything Punk is throwing at him isn't sticking, and that the only thing that he has is that he's part-time this, part-time that. And then they start talking about how they all didn't see their dads, when they were growing up because they were all on the road. And, he makes a point, and he says he's a full-time dad, and that's his legacy, and that's his biggest flex. We've come on here, we've given him a hard time about not showing up, but, as dads ourselves, we can't really fault him for that. If that's what he wants to do, more power to him. If it means that he's part-time or not around, be that dad. Go. And then Jimmy was all about it too, because Jimmy's a new dad too, so he gets it. I don't think Jay has kids, but Jay's being very surly the past few weeks. Very, very ornery, this man. So we'll have to see where that goes. Says at the end of the day, Roman doesn't need an apology, but Jimmy and Jay do, and Roman's going to go out and get it. What's the worst that can happen? Punk's going to beat him up. Just kind of throwing it off, and they all give a little chuckle as that segment ends. Moving on to our second match of the evening, we have our Women's Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee and Bayley. So apparently these guys are long-term friends from back in the day. I guess when AJ was the Divas Champion, she went down to NXT to kind of mentor Bayley a little bit is what they were saying. It's good to see AJ coming back more full-time after all the build-up and all the speculation about what was happening with her. It's good to see that she's taken more of a full-time role, and that Bayley did get this match opportunity by winning the gauntlet match last week. So we get into this match. AJ was just fully in control. I would say probably 90% of this match. Anytime Bayley would get some sort of momentum, it would just be countered. Anything would be countered. She just countered everything. And I thought that was cool. She's a dominant champion right now. I mean, even though she hasn't been around a long time, the fact that she can just counter and counter and counter and counter and counter was just impressive. I mean, that was cool. Even to the end where she countered into her Black Widow and getting the tap out. Bayley tried to hang on as much as possible, but she did end up tapping out, and AJ does retain. So getting her first defense as the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This was a great match, I think, because it didn't involve Becky at this point. Becky didn't get involved. The match was able to complete itself. They were able to have the actual full match without any interference, and it didn't really inject anything into the Becky storyline, and I think that's a good thing. You know, we did get, after the commercial, we got Becky Lynch attacking AJ on the ramp, presumably as she was exiting the ring and going backstage. We didn't get to see that. Even though I watched it live, they didn't show the commercials, so that's what that was there. So so AJ is going to go into WrestleMania champion. Whether she has a match at WrestleMania, we don't know yet. I don't know what they're going to do with the mid cards, but that's just kind of what it is there. And that I don't know what's going to happen with Bayley at this point. I think we do get a little bit of a confirmation later on in the show, but Bayley will go back in back of the line there. We go to our next match between Penta versus an unknown challenger at this point for the Intercontinental Championship. So Penta defending 2 weeks in a row. I am loving the fact that mid-cards are defending every week. These champions are both, we have Carmelo Hayes on the SmackDown side, and we have Penta on the Raw side. Let these guys defend every week. I think it's very entertaining. The open challenge is a great concept. I think it injects that bit of mystery, just like we've been saying, like the Royal Rumble does. You just never know who's going to come out, and that's part of the excitement. Who's behind this curtain? Who's backstage? Who's going to come out and answer it? It's a surprise every time. So I think you don't go into these matches with any preconceived notions. You were just reacting in the moment, and I think that's fun. So before the match, Penta does get on the mic and said that he was going to be a fighting champion, and he told Adam Pearce that he can pick anyone. And then Dragon Lee comes out. We get luchador on luchador action, and probably two of my favorite luchadors right now. I'm a huge fan of Dragon Lee, and Penta is probably my number one luchador on the roster right now. Anytime Penta's in the ring, I think it's just fun. He's very entertaining. His moves are always crisp and clean, and we get to see a lot of that here. So as expected, we do get to see a lot of flips and kicks, some very good lucha moves, the double flights out of the ring, both guys just jumping over the top rope, flying out of the ring. And, dude, we got some big knees and kicks. I don't know. The amount of kicks to the face and the amount of knees to the face, it wouldn't have surprised me if after this match cleared out that Danhausen came out and started gathering up a bunch of teeth, because it looked like there were teeth flying all over the place here. So check on dentists. Go check on your guys. What is it? What do we say? The AAA Dr. Wagner. That's what it was. The Dr. Wagner Jr. dentist. Go check on these guys because they may need some dental work here pretty soon. That Penta driver by Penta was clean. I think that part of that was Dragon, being able to tuck his head and making that look clean too. But that was a very impressive thing. And Dragon Lee, speaking of him, honoring his boy AJ Styles with the homage with the Styles Clash. That was really cool to see. Those guys were tag team partners before AJ retired or was retired. And I think that combined with the suicide dive by Dragon Lee across the announce table, getting that distance was impressive. And the Operation Dragon right after that, this was just a very fun match. We got that run off the ropes into the Mexican Destroyer for the win by Penta, and Penta retained. And I think Corey said it great. Let these guys run it back because this was very fun to watch. We have these rivalries on these mid-card shows that I would love to see more than once. We have the Mello and Ilya stuff happening right now, and I think on the Raw side we have Penta and Dragon Lee. I think that would be a lot of fun. So let's give Danhausen his teeth, let him go in there, gather them all up, and there's just a big show of respect between these two at the end of it, which was a lot of fun to see. So after that match, we have Paul Heyman backstage. We have Austin Theory and Logan showing up, and Austin Theory saying that they will take care of Seth. Paul Heyman saying that that's a bad idea because Seth's game is that he tries to separate him. The Vision's power is in the numbers. That's what they do. And right now, if they go out and try to take care of Seth, he's going to pick them off one by one. Right now, the Vision has no more leverage. They have no more power. They need to focus on getting titles, getting in position to get the tag titles from the Usos. And Austin Theory goes out and says that that's what they're going to do. And then Logan comes in and says something to Paul. I couldn't understand it. I think the either his mic was low or the crowd mic was too hot. Doesn't matter. I don't really care what Logan Paul has to say, and it didn't really feel like it added anything to the conversation. So they could have just cut that out and just had to move on, and it would have been all fine. So seemingly the Logan Paul and Austin Theory are going to go after the tag titles, which we do get confirmed is happening next week. After that, we get a match that really shouldn't even have been a match. I don't know what they're doing here, but we have Maxine Dupree versus Natty. I didn't write anything down for this match. Number one, it only lasted probably like 5 minutes, and nobody was into it. The crowd wasn't into it, and it didn't even look like they were into it much. It just, I don't know. This rivalry doesn't make sense to me. I'm not feeling it from either side here. I just don't get it. It's just not clicking. I don't know what it is, but this rivalry and these matches just aren't clicking. I guess Natty is supposed to be this hardcore, badass and whatnot, and Maxine is supposed to try to be that, but that's not the kind of character that she is. They tried to make her that, but she just doesn't give off that intense character aura. I don't know what it is, but just this rivalry just does not click for me. I don't get it. Not much to say about this match other than Natty ended it with a leg lariat into a sharpshooter. That's just what it was. I can't get behind this. I don't know how much longer they can pull this off, but with this match only being 5 minutes and their last interaction only being a few minutes, I don't know what's happening here. Maybe they're just trying to fill time. I don't know. But moving on, we get a presumed interview between Michael Cole and Randy Orton. Randy talking to someone on the phone. He's via satellite, which looked like he was from 1995, working on a little tube TV. But, apparently wherever he's at, satellite connection is very spotty. Even with, Starlink, you can't get that bad of reception. But Randy's talking to someone on the phone saying it was good to see him a couple weeks ago. Not sure who he's talking about. I don't know. We'll have to find out to see who it is. I haven't read anything yet to hear any theories, but yeah, we'll have to see who he's talking about. So Randy does. He said he had a conversation after he gets off the phone. He looks at the camera, looks at Cole, and says, "This was going to be an interview, but I'm just going to go ahead and say what I have to say." He said he had a conversation with someone who had a brain, made him understand who he is, what he is, made him understand why he did what he did to Cody. He says that he's a killer. And then as he closes, he says, wrestling does have more than one royal family. So, maybe it's someone he's related to that I don't know about, that it was big back in the day. I don't know. We're seeing shades of 09 Randy from what I understand. So he'll be back on Friday to talk some more about that. Moving on, we have Dragon Lee looking a little hurt backstage. Javon Evans jumps on him in a playful way, not realizing that he is hurt. Dragon's like, "Hey, back off, man, I'm hurt." And Kofi Kingston approaches, pulling Javon aside, trying to recruit him once again. And Kofi knows that Javon wants titles and main events. And he says it's all about who you associate with. You could associate with him, who is used to that, or other people who are dragging you down. And Javon didn't like that because Dragon Lee's his friend. Turns him down, says he ain't going to play like that. He just flat out tells him no. So he goes away. Grayson Waller comes in and says he doesn't know what Kofi sees in Javon. And Kofi says a lot of people say the same thing to him and Xavier about you, Grayson. And I agree. I don't know what Grayson is doing with New Day. He doesn't really fit in with them. But then we get our boy Danhausen showing up and says that he wants to replace Xavier in the New Day since Xavier seems to be hurt. And he says, instead of Bootios, we can have Curse Crunch with teeth marshmallows. And I'd buy that cereal. Let's do it. Kofi doesn't want Danhausen to join the New Day. And Danhausen says, you know what? I have 3 words for you before I go. You are... And right before he can say his last word, Kofi throws Grayson in front of him. And Danhausen says, cursed. And he starts chanting, you are cursed. You are cursed in the New Day chant, which was very fun. And Grayson, it gets in Kofi's face trying to figure out why he threw him in front, trying to deflect the curse. And yeah, so it looks like Grayson Waller is the next victim of Danhausen's curse. We'll have to see what happens there. Presumably, we'll see that next week. Fun times. Anytime Danhausen comes in, it's always a good time. We keep saying it. He has had an effect on WWE and on us, so keep it going while he's hot. Next match, we have Stephanie Becerra versus Raquel Rodriguez. So Raquel's job here is just to soften up Stephanie for Liv going into WrestleMania, trying to make her as hurt as possible and make Liv's job a little bit easier. And it looked like Raquel was going to go after Stephanie for a bit, before the Rumble. I don't know what changed in that storyline, but maybe that was the whole point, was that Raquel was just trying to soften up Stephanie because she knew Liv was going to win the Rumble, and that Liv was going to eventually pick Stephanie for the WrestleMania. So I don't know. We'll have to see where that story plays out. Maybe after Liv and Stephanie have it out in WrestleMania, we get to see Raquel and Stephanie rivalry pick back up. As the match starts, Raquel's doing her job well, just wailing on Stephanie here and there. It wasn't until about halfway through the match that Stephanie started to gain any momentum. And as she was right on the apron, she did get a big shot on Raquel, staring down Liv as she was doing it. Raquel then picks up Stephanie and throws her head first into the ring post, which looked like it hurt. And then getting back in the ring, Raquel gets Stephanie into the corner and then hits those kettlebell elbows, just reaching down, hitting her in the back and just going down. That's what I like to call those, because that's what it looks like she's doing. And then Stephanie gets out of there and hits a dragon screw on Raquel, which every time that happens, I just don't know how there aren't torn ACLs. That move just looks like it hurts. Raquel has the power and hits Stephanie hard, but Stephanie always bounces back with some speed move. And then attempting to hit the Devil's Kiss at one point gets countered. And, NXT, the next NXT is Booker T Appreciation Night, so they have to pay homage to Booker, and Stephanie has to hit that Devil's Kiss for Booker T, and you know that he was just going nuts after all that. Hopefully on NXT we'll get some sort of reference there, and we'll get to hear what he has to say about it. Now, Io Sky comes out with the distraction, but goes straight for Liv, but still distracting Raquel in the ring. And Raquel does end up coming out, throwing Io over the announce table. Stephanie comes out and attacks Raquel and Liv. Getting back into the ring, Raquel hits the Tejana Bomb on Stephanie, but then she ends up countering it, going into the roll-up pin. So Stephanie gets the win off the distraction by Io Sky, so Io gets the assist there. So we'll get to see there. Rhea tasked Io with taking care of the Raw side, and it seems like that she's making her way to do that just now. So, who knows? We're getting maybe a little bit of a Io rivalry, Io going for the title too. Who knows? We'll have to see. But good job. Good job, Stephanie, for countering that offense by Big Mommy Cool, Raquel Rodriguez. Moving on from there, we get Bayley and Lyra backstage, and this is where we get to see the fallout from, Bayley's loss to AJ Lee earlier. Bayley, is pretty heated about what happened, upset that everything that she threw at AJ, she just kept countering and countering and countering. Lyra tells Bayley to stop yelling at her, and they're going to work together to get to WrestleMania. Asuka comes out and is upset that Bayley cost her the match last week, that she would have won, and that says that they're going to go after the tag titles. So Bayley and Lyra says, well, maybe we should go talk to Pierce. So it seems like they're going to go a little bit of a tag match here, which is good. I think that'll be more interesting to see them going up against Nia and Lash, rather than what we're seeing on the SmackDown side right now. Moving on from that, we get LA Knight and the Usos backstage. Knight noticing that the Usos and Roman are getting a little too cozy. He's not a fan of that. Jimmy says that it's a family thing to stay out of it. Knight is worried that the old bloodline is coming back. And if the old bloodline is coming back, they can't be on the same page. They're on the same page about the vision right now, but if they start joining together with Roman, there's enough history there where LA Knight cannot get behind them on that. So Jimmy's okay with him. Jay, not so much. Again, Jay's been in a mood the past few weeks, so we'll have to see what happens there. And this leads up to Roman Reigns in the ring for our main event of the evening. He's coming out here to address what Punk has been saying about his dad and his family. And they keep throwing his TC1 on the board, but everyone just chants OTC. So I think they just need to drop the TC1 and stick with OTC. I think that would just be better. So he calls out Phil so they can handle some business. He says, "Welcome to my ring. Welcome to my main event," as CM Punk comes out from backstage. And Phil, CM Punk, addresses the use of his government name. Says friends and family are allowed to call him Phil. And he'd go ahead and call Roman Titi Tiaki or whatever his real name is, but he doesn't obsess over him. And he's not going to call him Joe because that would insult a real Samoan who he loves very much. And Roman says, "Call Joe. He'll tell him who your real tribal chief is." Says Punk has already won, or Punk says he's already won the main event at WrestleMania because he's already in Roman's head. And everyone just starts chanting OTC, and Roman says that he's on everyone's mind all the time. Phil hasn't main evented anything this year. Punk says that he was calling for Roman last week, but he was too chicken shit to show and sent his cousins. You know, Punk admits that he's a self-appointed habitual line stepper, and Punk deserved what he got last week. But it was the right message, but the wrong messenger. Again, insinuating that Roman is just a part-timer. And Roman doesn't take that lightly. He says, Punk says the same thing over and over. "Oh, he's a part-timer. He's never here." Well, maybe you should see what the top dollar players do. Why don't you go ask your wife? Which gets a big reaction from the crowd. Until you can come up with something that can faze me, don't waste my time, Phil. Still using his government name. And Roman tries to exit the ring, but Punk doesn't let him. He gets out and he says, "My ring, my belt. I tell you when you can go, young boy. Now's not that time." Punk says this is the last time Roman will main event WrestleMania because he's going to lift him up over his beautiful head of hair and crash him down onto his knee while everyone screaming, "CM Punk, CM Punk." Roman says enough is enough. Punk is delusional. He's great on the mic and the mental game, but he can't faze Roman. He's the tribal chief, and he's done everything in this business. At the end of the day, Punk's not faster, stronger, or better looking than Roman. He's a try-hard that makes everyone look terrible. And at the end of the day, you're old. And Punk did not like that. As soon as that line hit, Punk dropped Roman. Phil apparently doesn't like being called old. You know, we keep saying that it's always fun to watch old man Phil get beat up and then come back at the end. So just don't say that to his face because he'll drop you. And as Punk is exiting the ring, Roman gets up and he says, "Who's in whose head now?" So that's how our show ends. And man, it's going to be a good one. I think they're doing a lot of really good lead up. I think this will be my second favorite match of WrestleMania, right behind the Brock Lesnar Oba Femi. This will be fun. Man, it's going to be good. We'll have to see. I can't wait. And, we've got, 3 more weeks, 3 more Raws before WrestleMania, maybe 4. But, 4. We'll have to see how that goes. So it's going to be fun. So like we said, we got Brock back next week and the Usos versus Logan and Austin next week. So we've got those 2 matches confirmed. And, so we'll have to see. So that's how this show ends. Now we like to end our show with our botch and our pop of the week. I haven't been able to hear from Jesse about what his were, but for me, my botch of the week was the Maxine and Natty match. I said it. I don't understand this rivalry. I don't understand this match. I don't think it should have been there. They could have filled that time with something else. So, we have to figure that out. And my pop of the week, no surprise here, is Oba Femi hitting Brock Lesnar with the fall from grace and setting the match for WrestleMania. The Ruler and Brock Lesnar is going to be awesome. I want to see those big men throw each other around. It's going to be great. I want to hear what Brock is going to say next week, and we'll hopefully get a little bit of a face-to-face between these two next week on Raw. So, again, that's what I'm excited for. That's what I'm here for. Bring it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you agreed with anything we said, let me know. Again, this is just me, so tell me I'm full of crap. If you want Jesse back, tell him we want Jesse back. And just what are you excited for? What are you guys excited for WrestleMania? I want to hear it. So thanks again, and we'll see you all next week.